What is going on, dads, and welcome to episode 44 of the Dads After Dark Show, recorded on Sunday, May 2nd, 2021. We're your hosts, Drew and John, and thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo, and it's allergy season, folks. Yay, yay. John, I fucking hate allergies. Today is definitely by far the worst. You got the trees starting to pollinate, shit's falling in my pool. It's that time of the year. Everything starts, sprouting up, one might say. Had to cut the grass yesterday for the first time.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's just
and you're in for it's like going to jail. You're in for 6 months.
Yeah. It's like shaving your ball hair. Once you start, it's just you have to continue to maintain it, Maybe a little different, but
have you noticed that I've seen ads, those I don't remember these existing 10 years ago. Maybe they did, but ball hair shaving,
oh yeah, I got one of those.
That yeah, and I don't know how to react to that. And apparently, I don't remember them existing 10 years ago, but the thing that I have noticed is that I see it advertised by a female model. So there'll be some pretty girl and she's holding it, and it's that's weird advertising.
Well, the lawnmower 3.0, but not really. A woman has to shave down there as well.
Yeah, but it's being advertised towards men. And I understand. I think the concept is, hey, if you want a pretty girl like this, you better groom down there. Which is a weird thing because if she sees your ball hair, you've gotten pretty good for that opportunity.
You made it pretty far. You got
exactly.
Far.
I don't think how your grooming down there affects your chances with the girl in the bikini.
Correct. Do you think if she pulled your pants down, she's like, "Oh my God, you have a hairy sack. I'm out." I can't imagine, but maybe. Yeah, you never know.
Would you do that with a woman? You're whoa, a little crazy down there. You know what? I'm good.
Look at that bush. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I have one there. It's pretty slick. It's like a headlight on it and everything.
Why is there a headlight?
Well, I call it a headlight, but it's a light. It's like a LED light. For when you hold the trigger, it lights. It lights up.
Is it pretty safe?
They say it's impossible to cut yourself.
Wow.
Hey, I've never cut myself.
Can we put this on the top 10?
Sure.
I want to talk about this more later. Let's table this. We're going to throw this into the top 10.
All right, let's do that.
What else is going on with your week?
My week? Oh, the fucking birds. They're back. They're back. So
did you get
No, I thought I solved it by taking the nest down twice. But let's just say now, John, I have taken the nest down 5 times total.
You know what? What is it? What do you call a fool? Fool me once. 5 times we're still doing this, Drew?
I came outside the other day. Actually, I was inside. It was nice out. The slide-in door was open with the screen, and I heard birds chirping. I said, "You motherfuckers." So I went outside, and they're sitting on the edge of my pool. And I ran down those stairs so fast, and I, like a crazy person, just yelling at birds, "Get the fuck out of here!" My wife thinks I'm an idiot. I said, "Listen, I'm not cleaning bird shit up off, my yard all summer." But yeah, I'm 5 for 5 on moving that nest.
That's great.
So
when do you move it again?
Well, hopefully he's already laid his egg somewhere. Then it won't come back, right?
Get the spikes. It's time for the spikes.
I think it is. I didn't look into this.
They could just move to a different area of the house, but they didn't with me.
They're probably shitting on my kid's playground. Hey, better you than me.
Not your problem. Yeah, exactly.
What about you? What's going on with you?
I had my second Moderna on Thursday. I scheduled it at 2:00. They actually moved the site. It was a drive-through. And I went all the way up there. It's a 40-minute drive up there, but it was it was the best I could find when they first announced. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to just do that same place again. I knew where it was. And I get up there and it's shut down. And I was so pissed because it took 40 minutes of my day. And I looked and they had sent me a new address in a text. but the text never like pointed out that it was a new address. So I just didn't bother to look. It said confirming your appointment at 2 p.m. Yes, okay, that's when I confirmed it, and I didn't look at the address. And yeah, they moved it. So but anyway, I got it. I was fine, and then Friday morning, I started just feeling a little lousy. By the end of by mid-afternoon, I basically bailed out of work. I could have gutted it through, Drew, but you can't get rid of the opportunity to take some time off of work for free. So
I agree with that.
But I was feeling pretty lousy, and then felt lousy yesterday. But a lot of it was missed sleep as well. I went to bed. It was like Friday night, and I was like sitting in my chair for a couple hours, just feeling lousy. And then I went to get up to just basically get ready to go to bed, and I just got the chills.
Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah, I went to the bathroom to pee before bed, and I was just like shivering. It was a really hard night, but I feel better now. But
did you get sick on your first shot?
Not at all. I had a really sore arm, which I interpreted as just normal. You get a shot.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt. It's your muscle. But this time around, I didn't get I got a little bit, like slightly. Okay,
yeah.
But I didn't get a sore arm. So I guess has nothing to do with the needle. It was just a real symptom.
Well, they say that if you get one, typically you only get symptoms on one of the two shots, right? Usually it's typically not both. I got my first shot Tuesday. It kicked my ass.
How long?
Time, same thing. Same type of thing. I did it around noontime, and then about 24 hours, same thing. I couldn't even lift my arm over my head. It was like just
really
sore. But then and then later that night I had joint pains, like my knees hurt and stuff like that. But then about 24 hours later, the next day, I started like you. I had a fever. I had 100.0 fever. I set the chills on and off, and I was just like exhausted. Like I was fine. I was just like tired, falling asleep. But yeah, then I woke up the next day and I was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But mine was great. I went to a CVS. I was 30 minutes.
That's my company, man.
From the time I left my house, the time I was back, 30 minutes. It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
wow.
Right down the road.
Yeah, I didn't even get my shot at a CVS. I got somewhere else, but like a lot of people who I work with, because I work for CVS. I work for Aetna, which is owned by CVS, so I get paid by CVS. But yeah, a lot of people at my work got their appointments through CVS and that sort of thing. So
that's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could help you. I'm glad you're paying my salary essentially.
Well, I didn't pay anything. My health care probably.
Well, the government is paying for you and paying my salary.
Well, the government also pays my salary, so we should be thankful for the government.
Yes.
I think we had this conversation. I think CVS started in Rhode Island, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's a pretty small, probably it's like a tax haven, because it can't be, because Rhode Island is this like.
Oh, I'm sorry, Massachusetts. Close enough. That's like the same.
Little more known Massachusetts, a little bigger.
Yeah, but it's like the same thing,
No, maybe the accent's a little bit, but maybe.
So it's a baseball throwaway.
Hey Drew, I saw the Mortal Kombat movie this week.
Ooh, me too.
It came out like on last Friday. I've been watching it in my workouts, so it took me like 4 days to get through the whole movie. I really liked it.
Yeah, I watched it twice.
Did you? Yeah.
Amy was pumped to watch it. I loved it. It was a ton of fun.
Amy was pumped to watch it.
I think we were both like a little excited.
Does she like gory movie? Like she's not a gamer.
She grew up playing video games. She had two brothers. She has two older brothers.
Okay.
So she grew up playing a lot of Sega and video games growing up, and Mortal Kombat was one of them. Yeah. So she.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, she's a big into what are the games like Monster Boy and Adventure Time and whatever the other.
So she kind of grew out of it a little bit, but but she.
Yeah,
but origin.
But yeah, I thought it was fun. People complaining about stuff, but I mean, they tried to be a little bit different rather than having the actual tournament. They tried to move up the storyline to prevent the tournament. You're always gonna have the haters hate, but
I haven't heard a lot of criticism of that. I did at the end. I was like, oh. I mean, if you're afraid of spoilers for Mortal Kombat movie, just fast forward just a minute or two. But but when the movie hit the end, I was like, oh, we never got to the tournament, I guess. But I had no complaint about it. What's the difference if there's an official tournament? It's a movie.
Yeah, agreed.
I thought they did a really good job of setting up lots of different fights in lots of different settings. And Kano was really set up as this kind of lovable, hateable character.
Agreed.
Like, we kind of both, right? I mean, you wanted to see him get his ass kicked or whatever.
Oh, towards the halfway through. Oh, yeah.
That's what made his character so good. I was a little worried about like Sonya because like Bridget Wilson played her in the first movie. And she's just my big childhood crush. So like nobody else is Sonya. And I didn't even see the second Mortal Kombat movie. And she wasn't in that one. But I mean, the character that played her was fine. It was fine. I thought they should just recast Bridget Wilson. She's older, but she's still hot. But no, it was really good. What was your favorite moment in the movie besides, I mean, like the get over here moment was,
I know,
like jizz in your pants type excitement.
Yeah. I mean, I think all the battles, even between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, were awesome. Even when the Sub-Zero and the Jats scene. The problem with that scene when he broke his arms off, it was in the trailer.
Okay, yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah,
it was. I believe
I was surprised in my ignorance.
Oh, it was awesome. But I also
that's
was
from
funny
the game
because
too, right? I mean, I think in the game
I think that's the lore of the story, correct? Right. And I never played like I probably played maybe the first 3, but really more familiar with the first 2. So I wasn't sure if the main character was like a Mortal Kombat character in one of the other later games. So I looked him up, but no, he was an original character written for this movie, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So I liked that. They didn't just bake it around some, character we all know. This was like, no, we're learning about this person together. So right. I liked that little touch too. Goron, whatever the hell his name is, glad to see he made an appearance, but he didn't really have Goro. Sorry, he didn't have the opportunity to kick anybody's ass. Really,
he got his ass kicked. He was just like in the other movies too. He is just a terrifying character.
I agree. He's great character design in general.
Yeah, they did a really good job with him. He is just terrifying, and the fight with him was really good. I like that whole sequence of the movie when all those characters were kind of finding I forgot what they call it, but they're kind of finding their inner skill. That was cool. Because they all looked like they were gonna get their just ass kicked, and each of them like one at a time was like finding their skill. And of course Sonya just killing Kano and getting her mark, and it was cool.
That is cool. I loved the opening scene. I thought that was awesome. Well done.
What was when they were in when Sub-Zero attacks?
Yeah, like in the 1600s or whatever it was. Yep.
Yeah. That was cool.
Here's
a question I have about the movie that I felt. And look, I'm not going to criticize this movie. This is a must-watch if you're a gamer. Just have fun with it. And I think it's easy to, I was going to tweet and say, look, this isn't a fine film, but it's like, what's the point?
It's fun.
Everyone knows it's not going to be a fine film. Just have fun. But the thing that I just found hilarious was in the part of the movie where Scorpion comes back from hell. Yeah. I was thinking like how long has he been dead for? Like decades?
I think it was like 400 years, right? Because it was like 1600 something, and I'm assuming it's present day. So
right. Yep. It was a long, long time. And he said, I came back from hell to kill you. But he had this really sweet name, Scorpion. And I'm like, that just seems weird to me that he's in hell brooding, but he's going to call himself Scorpion. And he goes, come over here. Like when we see him reintroduced, he's like, come over here, Yeah. But the character never speaks English otherwise.
Correct.
And then he's talking to his ancestor, descendant, whatever. And he's speaking, is he Chinese?
He's Chinese and the other one's Japanese, something like that. Okay. I can't they're both Chinese and Japanese. I don't remember who was
speaking a foreign language that his descendant doesn't understand.
Correct.
And they're using subtitles in the movie and whatever. And it's like, but how does he say get over here?
Learned it in hell.
Yes, and he calls himself Scorpion. I think it was a little bit odd. I don't know if the
loophole, but what you said.
I know.
It was a fun movie. It was kind of like the Godzilla vs. Kong movie, which I love that series. But again, that movie sucked. but it was fun. There was some fun battle scenes, and that's all I really cared about.
Totally. I would call them popcorn movies, right? Just to have fun. Just watch it. Don't, you don't rank it. I will point out also, why does he keep taking his mask off to talk? Why doesn't he just leave it on and talk? Like, why does he have to keep that theatrical pulling of the mask off? And then he says something.
Especially when it's in Japanese anyway.
Exactly. Just like, if you leave it on, maybe you could get a different voice actor and speak English. I mean, it was very odd. No, but great movie. I'm with you. I'm going to watch it one more time. I started watching Tenet on HBO Max because I really enjoyed that movie. Love Chris Nolan. I saw it in theaters and it was really loud and hard to understand. So
I gotta watch that one.
Yeah, definitely watch it. You may want to watch it twice, but if you're a Chris Nolan fan, it's like you have to watch it. It is some amazing.
What is it on? It's on HBO.
HBO Max, yeah. It's got some incredible scenes you'll like never forget. But it can be it's a crazy story to follow. A second viewing may help. We watched a lot of YouTube videos after we watched it the first time. But now I'm kind of going through it slowly. I'm even rewinding some scenes and watching them multiple times just to really understand the story. But it's Chris Nolan. I mean, he's amazing.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah. No, it's totally worth it. Yeah, that's about it.
Lovely. All right, let's move on.
Let's do it. Drew, we've had some big gaming weeks. Let's talk about what we've been playing. I can start us off.
Sure.
I've been playing a little more Outriders. How long have I been playing this game? Has it been like a month and a half or so?
You've been playing it a long time.
There was one point where I quit it, but then like a couple days later I came back to it. I've been enjoying this game. I'm progressing pretty far into it. It's getting a little dry. I'm not going to lie. It's very repetitive. It does have a story, but it's basically a game about, like I said with Diablo, just repeating segments, trying to do them on harder levels. You get better loot, just replaying parts of the game. And, like I said, but it gets a little dry. It's repetitive. There's the same enemies keep coming out. The same monsters keep coming out. And then every so often there's some enemy that comes out that's just a massive sponge. And, I don't know how much longer I have in this. I kind of wanted to just hit the ending of the story, which I know is a silly thing for a game like this. But, sometimes I feel like once I hit the end of the story, I can play as long as I want to and then drop it. I thought I was getting near the end of it because there's this map that reveals itself with a cloud, and I was getting close to the right side of the screen. And then I realized that you can scroll that screen like 2.5 times. And it's like cloud, cloud, cloud. I'm like, ugh. So I don't know if I'm naturally going to get back into this, but we'll see. I haven't played it in a couple days. I did jump back into Monster Hunter Rise. I think I took a couple weeks off. This game kind of feels like Outriders to me. It's one of those games you can just keep on playing, keep on fighting harder monsters, that sort of thing. But the thing that brought me back was, of course, the update that got announced last week. Lots of like new goodies in the game. New monsters, just new difficulties, new aesthetics. They have some paid DLC in there as well. It's all aesthetic stuff. The thing I will say, and I've enjoyed getting back into this, I've upped my level a couple times, so I'm up to the 6-star fights, and now I'm monster rank 4. I had been 2. So yeah, I've been kind of plowing through it. The thing I'll say about the update is it's not apparent. I don't like games that do this. When they do an update and you jump in and you're like, okay, where is it? Where is the shit? Like, where is it? I mean, I'm playing it, and I think I fought a monster that I think is a newer one, but it's like an Apex. But like, I don't feel like the game was updated. It still feels like the same game I played 2 weeks ago. So even though they added a bunch of content, I'm not feeling it. Plus, at the point I'm in the game, I can't tell what's new or what's not. So if I had like 100% of the game, then I would say, oh yeah, that's a new monster. I'm not feeling it. So I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. So whatevs. And then a little Sayonara Wild Hearts update. If you've been following, I mentioned this last week as well. I'm trying to wild rank the whole game.
God bless you.
I honestly thought that this was going to be impossible. like I've said before, I just wanted wild rank one level, and then I basically put the game down. But I keep coming back to it, and I got my 19th wild rank today. I really didn't play much this week since my last one, because the levels that are left are just really obnoxious for wild ranks. But I did the car level, which is one of my least favorite levels in the whole game. I wild ranked that today. So I have 3 more, I think. No, 4 more. One of them, some people have asked in forums, is this impossible to wild rank? Another one is full of like warps. So knowing the correct path to wild rank is part of it, but I'm just going to watch a YouTube video to figure that out. One is one of my favorite songs. It's the second to last level. It's called Inside. It's one of the best Sayonara Wild Heart songs. But it's, difficult. It's one of the last levels in the game. It's hard.
Are you going to record yourself doing it, Sean?
I have been capturing like a 30-second clip at the end of each one just to remember it. Yeah, I've mostly been playing portably because it gives you the maximal, just reaction. You don't have any HD lag. It's like I'm playing right on my Switch with the controllers directly connected. It just gives you the best chance of reacting. So that's the way I'm going to finish it out. And then I have the final level, which is, 5 minutes long. It's going to be a hard one. And then you have to do the YOLOs. So it's still going to take a while, but I'll try to do one more this week. And then finally, a new game. The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This came out a couple years ago. I bought it because it came in a big box, and I can't resist like big box releases.
Good to know.
And it looked cute. The funny thing is my wife actually played this one soon after we bought it, and she finished it in like a few days, and I was like, oh, that was short. I never got to it, and I always wanted to. So the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince the game has a story basically that I don't want to give too much away, but you are a wolf, and you sing, and you sing this beautiful song every night, and there's this prince that has come to like watch you sing, and the prince doesn't realize you're a wolf, and eventually the prince climbs up this mountain to see you. And you basically scratch his eyes out because you didn't want him to know that you're a wolf.
That's mean.
And so you feel really bad about it. And you end up going to this forest witch, and you become a princess. And, I won't get into it, but the gameplay is pretty much the princess wants to take the prince to the witch to fix his eyesight. And like he's got bandages over his eyes or whatever. And you're basically just trying to fool him and bring him to the forest witch, but you won't admit that you're a wolf or anything like that. And the gameplay, it's a 2D game. And the gameplay is you just go through these levels. You like actually grab the prince's hand. So the prince won't move unless, you're holding his hand. And then you bring the prince over here and you leave him, and then you can do stuff, and you can transform back and forth between wolf and princess. So when you're the wolf, you can attack enemies and you can jump higher and all these things. And when you're the princess, you can grab his hand and walk with him. But you can't walk with him as a wolf because he'll feel your furry hand. So it's got some interesting gameplay. There's some levels you got to go up there and pull a lever, then turn into a wolf and come back around. So it's got some interesting gameplay. It's very sweet, and like every couple levels they do some storyline, and you like authentically, feel bad for what you did to the prince and all that jazz. It wasn't a very long game. There's some collectibles in it, and I think the one thing the game does badly is when you finish your game, you can't like go back in and try to find the collectibles or repeat some levels or that sort of thing, which is usually what I like to do. Mm-hmm. And if you can tell me on a level, oh, there's 2 collectibles you missed, see if you can find them. Like, I love that. Let me try to find them. The game was basically over, and I can't really continue it. So you'd have to play the game again and try to do it perfectly. Yeah, so it was good news because I was done with it and I moved on. So
yeah.
But it's a really good game. I mean, it's worth a play if you find it for cheap, but it won't occupy all your time forever. But I'm glad I finally did play it because it's a beautiful little box on my shelf. And every time I see it, I always feel like I want to play it. And now I don't have to feel that anymore. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. How about you?
Yeah, I've been playing some new and different stuff as well, right? So I guess Slay the Spire is still taking over my life. I am now on Ascension 6, I think, or so. And
For which character?
the first
Ironclad?
one, the Ironclad.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I went back to him. It's easy to stick to one guy. I've been trying different builds now. I kind of starting to get the hang of it. There's certain ones I really like, but if you don't get a card or two early in the game, you can't just go into it saying, I'm going to play this style. You
Right.
really need to see which type of cards you get in the first few battles and then adapt to that. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm really understanding the game now and really can go pretty deep. I usually always can make it to the third act and get pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some of the late monsters hit so hard, like 50% of your health.
Right.
And if you don't have the right stuff, it's just it definitely has luck involved in the game. That's the only bad part I don't like about it. But I guess any type of card game, it's going to be like that, right? It's going to be based on what you draw that hand, where you don't have any block, so you can't block the 50 damage attack, or sometimes they're vulnerable with not attacking and you have all block. So there's sometimes it is hard, but no, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah, luck is always involved, but sometimes if it becomes too much of it, it does become annoying because you feel like you're just wasting your time until the luck
It's
hits
definitely
right.
not the driving factor in the game. I will say that. But the problem is, and I've texted you a few times on this, is I'm at the very end final boss, and it's like unlucky I died twice in the final boss, and the final boss had 3 health left.
Yeah.
And I'm talking of 500 health. So
Right.
it's like, if I just have gotten an extra attack rather than an extra block card, I would have won. So it is what it is. It's a fun game. I love it. It's a great game to just, especially if the kids are doing stuff or you're just relaxing, or if I'm watching TV, I don't need a ton of focus to play that game. And I can stop for 30 seconds and look up and down. It's good for that.
And the fun part is, I've seen this too in my second playthrough, is how fast you can be in the first level. Because I would watch videos on YouTube and like, it's almost hard to like learn because people go through it so fast. The best players just fly through their decks.
Yeah.
But like, I know you and I have both gotten very fast. You play the first level and you're like, oh, the blue guy, attack, blah, 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 guy, done. Oh, there's a card.
Yeah.
And you're not even thinking until at least the second world.
You have lots of strategies like, well, don't kill him yet, but hit 1 damage, but then he's going to put block up, so go to the next guy. There's lots of strategy. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Another game I've been playing is called Dwarf Journey, which came out on the Switch April 19th, I believe, right around then, middle of April. So still relatively new game, only a few weeks old. It's fun. It's on sale right now for $6. So it's pretty cheap. I think it's normally $8, so it's really not a ton of money. It is relatively short, I believe. It's a roguelike where you play a dwarf. And it's very similar to the Road Legacy game that we played, John, right? Where it is like a side scroller, kind of like Metrovania type style. And the cool part about this is you also mine for, I guess, gems, you could want to call them that, or resources, right? You need copper, gold, silver, platinum. And then you get those and you take them back with you. And you can upgrade. There's a few different upgrades. Minerals, that's the word I'm looking for. You can either do skill point upgrades, right? So they have, like, the vitality, strength, critical damage, the typical ones. They also have, you can equip 3 runes. Like 1 rune would be every time you die 1 time, and then you come back to life. So it's like a rebirth rune. They have, like, increased critical hit. They have like a double hit. There's all different types of fun runes. You can equip up to 3 runes. And then there's the last upgrades are, you also use your minerals to upgrade armor and your weapon. So it's pretty simple. And you can't do any of those upgrades until you either, you die or whatnot. And then I believe so. I have not beat the game, believe it or not. There's four, at least from what I've made it so far. There's four different stages. In each stage, you have to find the boss, and I've made it to the fourth boss multiple times, but I cannot.
How do you find the boss? Is it like Enter the Gungeon or whatever
it's
like that?
Exactly like Road Legacy, where
Okay.
when you move to the next screen, and they have a really good mini map. But when you move to the next screen, it's going to be like the door of the do you want to enter that door, or do you want to keep exploring?
I see.
Because it might be rooms beyond that door, right? So you might find it, and then once you beat the boss for that stage, it always is on your mini map, like the little boss hub. Like think of original NES Zelda, where you can, when you get the compass, you know where the boss is, right? So you could just go straight for the boss and beat it quick. I'm at the point I'm maxed out in everything, so that's why I think the fourth boss is the last one. So I don't need to save any minerals at this point. I can just go to the boss. However, there is like these hidden little statues. There's two in every world, every stage, where if you go to them, you can either upgrade like additional skill points for that run only. So it's a little bit worth going out there, and you might get +3 strength, or +3 health. So it's kind of worth exploring to get those. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a $6 game. I probably played it for, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours, if maybe 5. I don't know, around there. But I enjoy it. It's one of those. Put it on your watch list. If it ever goes down to like $4 or something, just get it. It should be a good little weekend game or something for you.
Yeah. So Dwarf Journey, a good little game, small price, tiny adventure.
Tiny adventure. It's Dwarf Journey. Well, John,
what else you been playing?
I picked up new Pokemon Snap because why the hell not? Everyone else is doing it. My kids are obsessed with Pokemon. I'm new to Pokemon. I never played original Pokemon Snap. Now, I was nervous with this game because I'm saying to myself, well, you're just kind of driving around in like these Jurassic World bubbles, and you take pictures. I was like, and I'm saying, what? It doesn't sound the most entertaining game, but my kids will love it. Well, John, it's not entertaining. I'm going to be honest. This game is boring. It's really boring. And it's funny because I expected my kids to like love this. Like, which kid doesn't take your old cell phone, right, and want to go take pictures everywhere? That's like what kids love to do, right? Mm-hmm. And now you're throwing this new fad of or this new obsession that they have of Pokemon. I'm like, this game is for them. So Friday night, I downloaded it digitally, and we played it. We played through like the first region. So, I mean, no spoilers. We only played like the first area. Now, the first area you could do it, you play it during like the daytime, then you can play it, then you unlock nighttime, and then you unlock like this special illumination mode. I don't know what it's called. I'm still learning Pokemon. So it's all the same track though, essentially, but it switches, and obviously at night new Pokemon come out, etc. So that's all we really played. I probably played, I don't know what that is, maybe an hour and a half, probably maybe 2 hours. I played it. Both kids played it, and the controls are easy enough for them to figure it out. But it wasn't to the point, John, where like, all right, here comes Saturday. I was expecting my daughter to be like, I want to play Pokemon Snap. Dad, can we play the new Pokemon game? And
she's been doing Pika lately, right? So
she's obsessed. They have stuffed animals. They have the toys. They got them all. Mm-hmm. So now it's Sunday night, and I'm like, we haven't booted it up since Friday, and no one's even asked.
Mm-hmm. So that happens.
I mean, will we go back to it? Yeah, we definitely will, but it's just boring. Like, I can't see myself as a grown adult who loves video games being like, all right, gonna play some Pokemon Snap tonight. This is gonna be fun. Like, I don't know. Is it relaxing? Sure, but I'd rather play like an action or button clicking type game. It's just, you're legit taking pictures. Now, for those that haven't played it, I do like they have a scoring system, right? So they explain to you how a picture gets scored. There's, I don't know, I should have maybe wrote it down. There's like 5 or 6 categories, right? How big is the Pokemon in the picture? what's the pose, like what is it doing, which way is it facing, is it making an action, are there multiple Pokemon in the picture, or is there just one? And then you get a score, right? And you can get either a score range from from 0 to, I think the best picture I got was like 4,500.
Whoa.
Wow. I know. Wow. That's a good one. And then it's also, you can get 1 through 4 stars, and your Pokédex saves your picture for every star, right? So you need to get 4 different stars. So if I did a picture of Pikachu, I did a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star. And then within those stars, I believe you can get sub-ranked, which is like, bronze, silver, gold, or diamond. And that changes the color of the physical star. So I think that's a shit ton, right? I mean, 4 times 4, that's 16. You get 16 different rankings per Pokemon. Maybe? I don't know. And obviously, the higher your rank number is, it increases all that stuff. But it's a picture taking game. I mean, it's exactly what it says it is. So I'm not saying it's false advertising or the game sucks. It's exactly what you thought. It's a polished game. I didn't see a lot of like menu options, but again, I'm only an hour and a half into it. Maybe I get more unlockables or something. I don't know. But Pokemon.
I haven't played it yet. I did buy it. But it reminds me of the kind of game. It's the weird genre of games that I'm not excited about, but then the later I get into the game, the more obsessed that I get. So like, you go through the game, you take some pictures. Oh, there's another Pokemon. Take a picture, blah, blah, blah. No big deal. You go through the levels. Maybe you roll credits. And you're like, well, that's not fun. But then you start paying attention to the scoring system. Maybe there's achievements. Maybe you have to try to get a certain score for every single Pokemon. And the next thing you know, you're becoming addicted to like capturing the best pose at a secret time of each Pokemon. I mean, that's really what the Pokemon games can be, where you play through and you get some Pokemon and you don't really get them all. You get to the end and then it's like, ooh, I want to get them all now. And then suddenly you become like focused on finding every one. You played Sayonara Wild Hearts, didn't really enjoy it, rolled credits. And it's like that's another game where then you start becoming obsessed with trying to get the high score. So it's almost like you enjoy it and become more addicted at the end of the game rather than in the beginning when you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see the different maps and come across different Pokemon that I personally don't know because I've never seen. And I think my kids might be excited for that. But again, I'm shocked that we went all weekend. I mean, we did have beautiful weather all week, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is a good rainy day game to bump it out, but it's not like even Let's Go where it was more fun exploring and trying to catch the Pokemon. And, it's just different. It's just different. I don't hate it. I certainly don't love it. It's just it's boring. That's what it comes down to. It's just a boring game. But it doesn't mean it's a bad game, right? I don't think that means necessarily it's a bad game. And like I said, it's exactly what I thought it would be. And I was just in the back of my mind, I think I was hoping for it to be something else, But when you bite an apple, it's an apple.
It's an apple.
You know it's an apple. Yeah. This is a Pokemon picture game.
New Pokemon Apple.
That's right.
Sweet. I hope to start it at some point.
Yeah.
See how it goes. All right. Well, if that's it, I think we can just go right into our top 10.
Number 10.
Super Mario Party Online. John, 2.5 years. Gosh. This is interesting, right? So what they did was they introduced online play, essentially, right? And it's almost I'm gonna say 80% of the game, right? Where you can play actual full board games, you can play a lot of the mini games, including some of the 2v2 games, and there wasn't you can't do the boat paddle game, which is my kid's favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know what other ones. So
I think just having the board game. Yeah.
Can I play you in like the little baseball game?
I don't know particular ones, but I think probably. I don't see why that would be one of the easiest games to play online. So maybe we should play. Yeah, this was everyone was surprised. I made a little joke on Twitter. People have constantly been saying, update Mario Party. And then they update it and everyone's like, this came out of nowhere. What is Nintendo doing? And it was just very funny. It's like, oh my God. I think it's really great that they updated this. Yeah, it's weird that it took them 2.5 years. But I think it's probably related to their recent updates to their network code. They might have been using this as sort of a test. I had been under the impression that their network code that they had updated for the first time in like 20 years was related to matchmaking more than the play. But I'm hearing that the game like works really well online. Now, that doesn't mean that like the networking is smooth, right? It could be that they have good predictability. Like Mario Kart always works well online because it doesn't matter if it's perfectly accurate to what the person's actually doing. But like a game like Smash Brothers is extremely difficult to do because it has to be running smoothly. But I mean, I'm glad they did it. And we played a little bit last night. Who was it? It was Tim, Chris, me, and who else? You weren't on there, right? It was the name's escaping me right now, but somebody else was. It come to me. Oh, Mole. Mole was playing. And we didn't do the board game. We didn't have much time. We did some of the online games, and all of them went without a hitch.
Okay.
It was perfectly smooth. You literally wouldn't know you were playing somebody online.
Really? That's great.
So that worked well. I would like to try the board game. I am not a big Mario Party fan. But I would like to try just one. I just don't really enjoy it that much. I never really loved Mario Party. But I would like to play one full-scale board game online.
I will play. I want in on that.
Okay.
4 people?
Yeah, I think 4 people. If we can get 4 people.
Maybe that should be monthly mayhem. We gotta figure out a way to get 4 people.
Just one game?
It's like you have to. Yeah. Winner take all.
Thing about Mario Party is it's not like a skill-based game. You could just suck, and then swap the stars.
Isn't that what Mayhem's all about sometimes?
Yeah, I don't know. Getting 4 people on at one time would be hard.
So here's the bigger question, John. What does this mean? Does it mean nothing? Does it mean this is a test for some other online game? Does this mean it's a test for Super Mario Party Online 2? Does it mean that they're going to be adding updates to this one? What does this mean? Or does it mean nothing? Are we all looking into it?
I don't know. One thing it could mean is maybe they are about to update and add some new boards. Maybe they wanted to get the online system going. Maybe it took them longer than they expected. Maybe it was the impetus for replacing their old system in the first place. I mean, based on the time frame, maybe they just were trying to do this and was like, you know what? Let's just redo the network system, and they have. And now they're going to introduce some boards. So by doing this, I mean, there were a bunch of people I saw on Twitter that actually bought this game for the first time because the online. So, they got a boost in sales, and now, maybe they can just almost like start from scratch here and say, okay, all right, well, now we're going to do some boards and we're going to start getting some like regular updates as if it was 2.5 years ago.
You know what? Just talking about this makes me a little. I might go back and give it a board game go maybe next weekend. Maybe I'll just go play a game with the family.
Your kids are going to go, let's play the rafting game, and you're like, oh, they took that out.
Right. That's what's going to happen. Me and my wife are going to play a game like, I remember this game. Let's do the yeah. Oh, God. You're right. I'm not even going to. You're right. Never mind.
I will say one thing. When we played last night, the new features were very undiscoverable. Like, you start up the game, and I'm kind of expecting to see like play online or play local. Yeah. And it wasn't that. You had to pick like a team. Like you pick the characters to play with. So you say one player, and then you got to pick 3 other people. And it's like, okay, where's the online? And then you get into the area, and I was like, where is it? And it was like, it's kind of like little kiosks in that little area. Yeah. And it's like you go to the minigame kiosk, and then it asks you if you want to play online or not. And it's like, okay.
Weird.
All right. I don't know. I just felt like they should just ask it up front. I don't know.
Well, what if you want to play just a board game? Do you just go to like the full board game mode, and it says the same thing?
I think it probably is. But I couldn't even remember like where everything was in that area. But that's just because it's an older game, and I don't play it that much.
Can you play with strangers?
I think, what did it say? Say play online? I think so. I think I had to change it to play with friends. I know you can host and you can join.
I can't imagine a board game style version with strangers would go well.
I don't see why not. I mean,
Well, did you just leave at any point? Like, then what happens? Does a
yeah,
computer take
maybe,
over? Or,
but that's like every game, right? I mean,
yeah, so.
if I can't see it really working well without voice chat, you got to be able to voice chat and say, "Oh, you screwed me." But if you're not going to play with voice chat, who cares if it's a friend or a random person? I don't
Since
know.
we're on the topic, I think we need a Mario Party All Stars where they take like 10 mini games from every Mario Party so far, like the best 10 games.
They did that on 3DS. It was
Yeah, but it wasn't wasn't it only the mini games? I wanted this, and maybe they take like one board from every Mario Party and redo them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't love Mario Party. Not
Oh
not the
my
right
God,
person to talk
Mario
about
Party
this.
is one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Ugh, yeah, it's fun once.
Stop. You must just not be good at it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm done with this topic. Let's move on.
Number 9.
All right. I have a question. I got this from Jesse a couple weeks ago talking about the Spiritfarer Lily update DLC that came out. I haven't played Spiritfarer. This question isn't about that. But he kind of said something that, the way Jesse likes to play games is he likes to play through the game without playing anything else, finishing the game, then moving on to something else. He does not like coming back to games. And so this kind of brought up a question for me in regards to DLC content. Do you like DLC content or any new content that comes for a game months later, kind of like Super Mario Party? Do you go back to play, or once you stop a game, you're done? And then does the cost of that DLC matter? So, have there been, for you, Drew, have there been any games where you played through a game, you finished a game, and then lo and behold, DLC comes out? Are you done? Are you coming back?
I think it so depends. It's so dependent on the game, but let's look at more of a recent game that me and you both played, right? Phoenix Rising. So when it's a game like this, where that game wasn't overly complicated. I mean, I remember it pretty well still, but that obviously did come out with DLC, which looked pretty good, right? When you compare it to what the game was, right? It had a whole island,
right? A couple rounds of DLC.
Yeah, so it looked great, right? No, I mean, if you liked the game even a little bit, this was perfect. Now look at me right now. I'm kind of in a small lull. I'm playing Dwarf Journey and Slay the Spire for 40 hours that I'm on, and
hey, that's a good game.
That is a great game. But I mean, I could be done. I played it to completion multiple times, but it's not the point. It's fun. So here comes Phoenix Rising. Now, why wouldn't I go jump in and play that? I don't care if it's free. I don't care if it's $15. It's just a weird thing with me, right? I mean, I feel like I played the game. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I beat it. Put my 40 hours into it, whatever. But I don't know. I don't really have any interest in loading it back up.
Is it a result of the game itself, or is it just because you finished
something? I think you lose a bit once DLC waits, right? Breath of the Wild. Let's use Breath of the Wild for example, because Breath of the Wild, we all played it, we all loved it, right? The DLC, how long? I don't know. Do you remember how long the DLC was after?
I mean, it was after I had beaten Ganon.
Well after.
Yeah.
But this was also the game that we probably beat within the first month of the Switch console.
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, it did take a while. But yeah. It might have taken a month.
and I went back and I played all that, obviously, because it's Zelda. But at the same time, you lose something, right, when you walk away from a game like that. In a way, it's I don't know. Is it cheesy to add on now? I don't know. I mean, it's just a weird scenario. They look like Mario Kart, where everyone still pits up, or Mario Party. It's not like it's a continuation. It's just adding more playable features, right? Whether it's more tracks or more boards or more characters, that's fun. But when you're adding just another storyline or something else, I don't know. It's a unique thing. I don't think cost matters for me at all. If it's a game I loved and I want more, I'd pay $50 for DLC. But it's gotta be the right time, I think. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it's the same thing. If you play through a game and finish it, and you were like, the game's fine, but you didn't really love it or whatever, it doesn't mean that when DLC comes out, you're going to go back to it. I remember that game Moonlighter. I played that one, finished it, really thought it was an overhyped and honestly bad game.
You
I did not
finished
enjoy it.
Moonlighter?
I finished Moonlighter. It was,
you're a better man than I am.
I hate played it. I mean, like, I was just like, no, I'm going to finish this game. I think I've eased off on hate playing lately. Yeah, no, I finished it. I really did not enjoy it. I didn't like the cycle of it at all. I thought it would be more fun, and it wasn't. But then they did like a 5th dungeon, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going back to that. So, I mean, if a game is not good, I will feel satisfied beating the game, rolling credits, completing the game. I may not necessarily play that DLC. I won't feel like, oh, it is incomplete now, even if it's free. Like, no. I played the base game. I'm good to go. But I'm more than willing to come back to games. Slay the Spire was one where I had beaten the original with all the characters. I didn't do any of the Ascension levels. We talked about this. But when the 4th character came out, I was like, oh, I'm all in, man. I want to see that 4th character. And I did one run, I think, and then stopped because I hadn't done any Ascensions or anything. But I did go back to play that one. Even if you remember, like the Labo VR had an expansion which lets you play it with some other games. But yeah, I mean, I love to play DLC for a game that I love. So with Breath of the Wild, it was like, yeah, of course, I'm gonna come back and play more of that. Phoenix Rising's an interesting case. Phoenix Rising's a beautiful game. And if you love open world games and just going around and questing and doing that stuff, and I do love that, that's a great game. But like, that game lacked a soul in so many ways. It was like the characters were, funny at times and voiced well at times, but I didn't give a shit about any of it. So the fact that there's DLC is cool. But I don't feel like I need to go back into it. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of stuff I didn't do in the game. I didn't like 100% everything. I didn't get every little bit of upgrade. I know like you and Nick played like that game a lot and probably did a lot more. But going back to that game with the DLC would feel almost like dirty because there's so much I didn't do already. And so I'm going to play the DLC. Like, I'm more likely to go back to that game to complete it more.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask this question. I mean, we all understand why the publishers do DLC, right? Because they can get the game out fast, and then in the meantime, they can continue to develop DLC, and then they can charge an extra $10, let's just say. So I kind of see the timeline of why they do it. However, let's pretend that timeline is garbage. Throw it away for a minute. If there was DLC at launch, would you feel differently? So, for example, Phoenix Rising, you're playing it, you're in the heat of it, you know all the control buttons, you remember it all, you remember the map very well, you're into the game, bam, you beat it. The very next day, if you could for $10 boot up the DLC rather than moving on to a new game, would you do it then? I feel like there's a better chance for me to give them my $10 and continue playing. But once I step away and 6 months go by, I've moved on. I'm not really going back unless it's a blockbuster game that I loved. That's the weird part for me. If DLC was always available at launch, which I understand why it's not.
Right, it wouldn't be DLC.
We don't need the hate mail. No, it could be because it's DLC that you have to pay for. Is that now a cheesy out that people could say, why wasn't it just not included in the game?
I don't know. I honestly see DLC as for people who, like, as a game publisher, your worst enemy is used game sales, right? So forget digital. Digital locks you in. Digital is like the easiest way to lock people into a purchase. You can't let your friend borrow it. You can't resell it. But if you buy a game physically, it locks you in because if they say, oh, a game came out, oh, and we're going to offer DLC in like a few months. Like, remember Fire Emblem did that and Breath of the Wild did that. Yeah. Well, boy, you're not going to sell your copy of the game until the DLC comes out. And they just need that window of time where people aren't beating the game and then selling it and getting most of their money back. And then they lose a sale on that. So I think DLC has a lot of benefits to the publisher, but I think that's one of them.
It does. Remember,
and so the game, having the DLC come out too soon, kind of the point is having the DLC come out too soon. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I think I'm the opposite of you. Like, when I finish a game or whatever, I don't want more of it. Have you ever bought a game that has multiple versions in it? Like, I bought, is it Hotline Miami? I bought Hotline Miami. Is that the name of the game? And it came in a pack of 2. So there's Hotline Miami 1 and Hotline Miami 2.
Okay.
And I bought it because it's like, it was a good deal. It was a game that I thought I would really enjoy. And, that's it. Yeah, Hotline Miami. I played the first game. I enjoyed it. So I have the second game. I haven't played it yet. Because when I finished Hotline Miami 1, I was like ready for something different. I didn't want to play the second game because it was a similar style. Mm-hmm. And one day I'll come back to it. So with DLC, I would feel like I just want to take a break. Especially a game like Phoenix Rising, which is a rather large game. Once I'm done with that, there's no way I want to jump right into DLC. I need a little bit of a break.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like to start and then finish. Last March, we watched Breaking Bad. It's 6 seasons long. We started at season 1, episode 1. Like after season 2, I was like, let's just take a break and watch something else for a little while. No, we watched all of it and through season 6. Like I'm somebody that wants to start and finish and then be like, I'm done. Let's move on to the next show we're going to watch.
Now, as soon as you finished Breaking Bad, did you watch Better Call Saul immediately?
No, we did not.
Did you watch the Breaking Bad movie or whatever?
We did watch the movie like a week or two, a couple weeks after. Okay. But that's a 2-hour sit down. Better Call Saul, we're actually in the middle of watching that.
You are? Okay.
Yeah, we're season 3 or 4. I forget. We're pretty far into it.
I just think that's a better, comparison. Are you ready for more, or do you want to take a break and watch just a different kind of show? That sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think we kind of gone through this, but yeah, like obviously I think the DLC has to be for a game you really liked. You want to see the DLC come sooner. I'm okay with it later. I think in the end though, it does matter in the game. And Jesse didn't want to like continue the Spiritfarer DLC, but he liked the game, but like maybe just didn't like it enough. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't worth his while.
Number 8.
All right, John, I got one for you here. I wanted to make this, we are called dads, so let's get the dad involvement a little bit here. Daddy. So my question for you is, what is one thing that you hate doing as a dad, but you do it anyway because you love your kids, right? Sometimes it's like you're sitting down and you're either maybe playing a video game, you're like, hey, Dad, can you do this with me? And you're like, I don't want to do that, but what are some examples? What do you got?
I had to think about this one. The funny part is, I'm glad you're asking me now and not like 10 years ago. One of the hardest things to do as a dad is doing stuff with your kids that is just not something you're interested in. Like they're doing something kid-based.
Yeah, at my age kids, it's tough at my age.
Yeah, you're like, that's not what I want to do, and kind of the answer I came up with was putting on your game face. And what I mean by this is, one of the things that I do for my kids is I put them to bed at night. Okay. Yep. So, we do a little game. We play some music for a couple minutes while they brush their teeth. Right. So they do their flossy time, and then we play a song on Spotify, brush your teeth, and then I put them to bed. Mm-hmm. One at a time, and I give them all their little, talkie time. Yep. How was your day? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't talk to my sons as much. I talk a little bit more with my daughter. I mean, we go through phases where my kids talk to me for varying lengths of time. And sometimes, I put them to bed. Like, oh, I'm tired. I might have some like nighttime work I need to do, or maybe the wife and I have got some plans together. Oh. Just any number of reasons where it's like, I don't want to sit here and talk about so and so at school, or what you think about unicorns, but you got to put on your game face. You got to act interested. Oh yeah, tell me more about and that I find to be one of the harder things, even when you're just not feeling well. Just to give them a smile, talk to them. I know how important it is, as a kid to talk to your parent.
Have you ever not like, I don't want to say snapped like in a bad asshole way, but sometimes have you ever just and then you look back and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm sorry, like, I didn't mean to snap at you. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes, it's like, just, all right, it's bedtime, go to bed. And you're like, the poor kid's just trying to tell you about the unicorns. Like, it's like,
I know.
but it's like, you've been telling me for the last 7 minutes, and it's like, it's 10 minutes past, like, we gotta go to bed.
Yeah. No, I'm really good with telling them, like, okay,
Yeah.
it's late, it's time to go to bed. Like, they understand. I did snap at my son last night, Sebastian, who was on our show a few weeks ago. Because quick story, the other night we, put the kids to bed. We've been putting the kids to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
They'll watch Netflix till about 8 to 8:10, and then they'll brush their teeth. They're in bed by 8:15, 8:30. And my email rings and it says you've made a purchase on PlayStation. And this is now 8:55. So I think we had put them to bed like 35 minutes earlier. And I was like, oh my God, my son is playing the PlayStation because it's in his room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow. So I'm looking at our network, our Wi-Fi, and I see the PS4 is showing network activity, and my son's iPad is showing network activity. So just like, I have suspected for a while that my kids are messing with their devices at night. They might be in their room or whatever. I caught my son a couple times with the iPad under his covers. Putting them to bed. But like, I always felt like we put them to bed too early already. They wake up, like sometimes wake up 5:30, 6 o'clock. 8 o'clock is early for, a 14-year-old and 12-year-old, especially when their friends are going to bed at like 10 or 11 at night. But anyway, last night, we decided yesterday to let them get an extra hour. So now we put them to bed at 9 o'clock. So see, I wasn't even mad at them because I understand they're, not tired yet. But I wanted to make sure that I had their phones and their iPads before I put him to bed. And my son could not find his phone. He doesn't have a phone. He has an iPod Touch.
Yeah. Yep.
And I really wanted him to give it to me so I can put it on the charger and then get it out of his room. But he couldn't find it. And I wasn't sure if I believed him or not. And we spent 15 minutes looking around. We couldn't use the find thing because his iPad had a dead battery. And eventually I was like, I kind of snapped at him. I said, well, you just have to go to bed. I said, you better not have it in your room or I'll be upset. Like, because I was hoping he wasn't trying to just like, use it. But it turned out he found it. It had fallen downstairs, whatever. And I felt bad because I didn't really give him a conversation before he went to bed. And that happens, but you spend 15 minutes and, it's like.
I've done that. Yeah, hey, we're not reading a book tonight. You spent too long doing A, B, or C. I hear you.
Yeah. At least you're fair, though, right? Like you tell them why, and maybe you're not mad or whatever. Just say, we don't have time tonight to do this, or, that sort of thing.
Or you want to stay up late and play, but fine, but we're not going to read a book or talk tonight in bed. Yep, we're going to go right to bed.
Right.
But they don't get it. At 4 and 6, they're like, okay. And then, well, what do you mean you're not going to read me a book? Well, yes. But I hear you.
Yeah. It happens.
Anything else?
No, I think I added to the list listening to their Minecraft stories. They will tell me stories all the time. I want to show you what I made or whatever. And sometimes I'll like sit there and look at the screen and like immediately I'm just not even focused on it. I'm like, that's great. I do one of those things. That's cool. Oh, neat. Oh, yeah. They can tell at their age when you're just not engaged in it.
My 4-year-old's this weekend, I was doing something in the kitchen, like dishes or something I didn't want to do, but I was just like trying to finish it so to just sit down and have my cup of coffee and like sit in my chair and relax. It was one of those days. And my son keeps nagging me, Dad, come Pokemon battle with me. And I'm like, what do you mean, buddy? Like, we bought them for Easter. The Easter Bunny brought them like the plastic Pokemon balls, and they have like, Pokemon in them. So, he wants me that we should have Pokeball and we put Pokemon in there. Then we have to pretend we battle. Like, and I'm just like, I don't want to sit on the floor and play Pokemon. But like, what did I do? I sat on the floor and I played Pokemon.
Right. Yes.
But you put
about this question.
Oh boy.
That's what makes a dad great, right? That's what separates good dads from great dads, bad dads and good dads, is the ability to adopt to your son. Like I said, the really bad dads are the ones that are selfish about their time, right? They're the dads that you see on a Twitch stream who yell at their kid because they came in because they can't sleep. Yeah. Or, something like that, where you're not coming down to your kid's level. You're at your level. And
they don't get that. They don't get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're their dad. They need you
Right.
for whatever reason. And yeah, so
Right.
I agree. I thought it would be a fun little question. I'm sure there's millions of stories that me and you could probably tell about this stuff. And if there's stories out there from you guys, tell us, and we'll maybe talk about it again next show.
Yeah, throw it out to the Nintendo dads. Let's hear your answer.
Number 7.
Drew, there's a new Ace Attorney game.
Who cares?
I do. I care so much. I had to look it up. The last Ace Attorney game that came out was on 3DS, Spirit of Justice, 2016, and before that was the what was the name of it? It was a trilogy, and that was 2013. I fucking love the Phoenix Wright games. They're the Ace Attorney games, but they're Phoenix Wright to me. I've played every single one of them. And we're going to get the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. It's actually 2 games in one. These games came out years ago, but they never got localized for North America. And they're coming out, and it's going to be on Switch. So this is the first Ace Attorney game that I'll be playing on Switch. They did re-release some of them, but I already replayed them on 3DS, and I didn't want to play them on Switch. I actually really like the touchscreen of the 3DS when you're like looking for clues and you're tapping. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of miss that. Even though there is a touchscreen, I don't like using the touchscreen on my Switch. It's going to be $40. Comes out July 27th. I've already apologized to my wife that I'll be playing Ace Attorney on her birthday. And
it's fucked up.
I'm super... her birthday's 2 days later. But I'm super excited for it. Can't wait. And if you've never played these games, I mean, look, it's a trial game, but I mean, there's more to it, right? The stories are always really fun. You have to find clues, then you go to trial. And people who don't play these games that don't understand why they're so good is they are really intense. When you get into these these trials and you're trying to prove somebody guilty, and they give their testimony, and you have to try to poke holes in their testimony. So they might say, oh, I did this, I did that day. And you're like, wait a minute, you said something else. You have to really pick out what it is. And you go, wait a minute. And you challenge them on it. And then they say, well, you can't prove that I wasn't there. And then you look through your evidence. It is super intense, especially when you get close to the end of these trials. So I'm telling
boring.
you, man.
I'd rather play Pokemon.
Have you ever tried it? Have you ever played an Ace Attorney game?
I don't like these games where you just read and you select options of what you want. I want to button click. I want to do stuff. I want to move around.
You button click through the dialogue.
That's boring to me.
I'm telling you, they're so good. But anyway, I'm super excited for that. I'll be playing that day uno and dos and tres, and after that.
And then maybe you should are you to buy your wife a lawnmower 3.0?
That's a little lower on the countdown, Drew.
Oh, okay.
Let's step up the intensity. Ouch! Now that was a great workout.
Number 6.
Monthly Mayhem.
Monthly Mayhem.
This is the May of all mayhems, because it's May. Well, guys, sorry to disappoint, but we did nothing. Yep. We are burnt out. Well, John's more burnt out than I am, but I'm still a little burnt out. I had to upgrade all that leaderboard. It was, we had such a fun Mayhem last month. We don't want to disappoint you with boring Pokemon Snap this month, because we thought about it, right, John? That was an option. It still is an option. Hell, if you people really want it, tell us and we'll do it. There's ways for us to do that. We just feel like it's boring. Well, whoever takes the best pictures, the highest ranking wins. I don't know. It's going to come down to who 100% completes the game. That's what it would come down to, because the more Pokemon you get, the higher your rank's going to be naturally.
I don't know if people would complete it, so there's that. It did feel like a natural game to put in. But yeah, I don't know if there's just enough interest in that one. And then usually what you and I do is, if there's not a natural game release that we can do, we'll go into the eShop and find some low budget game. But I don't know, we weren't not feeling like looking for one of those. And we had such a hard time going through the last one. We're giving ourselves, I guess, a little break. So, but Yeah, I don't know. Do you think we might do this again? Maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know.
It's okay. There's no rush.
Yeah.
Not going any. We'll be back. It will be back, folks. Well, let's say this. It will at least, by minimal, be back in 2 weeks. We can commit to that, right, John?
Wait. I got a great idea, Drew.
What?
The Great Ace Attorney Adventures Monthly Mayhem.
Good Lord. I mean, I'd rather play Pokemon Snap.
Come on. Let's do it. Let's do trials.
I don't even know what that is. What that means.
I don't know. Stay tuned, everybody.
Stay tuned.
Number 5.
We got a question, Drewski. This is from Dan. Newly groomed Dan. Did you see the picture of Dan with his haircut?
Does that mean he shaved his balls?
That's later in the countdown, Drew.
Wait, he shaved his beard?
He trimmed his beard and he got a haircut.
Where can I see this picture?
I have to look at his Twitter. I'll have to.
Twitter. I mean, do you know who you're talking to?
I'll send you a nice juicy picture.
Tweet me out.
He sent a tweet it out.
Tweet it out.
He sent in a question for us. What crazy ass innovation do you think we'll see in Nintendo's next console controllers? What do you think here?
I don't know. I mean, they've merged the 3DS and the Wii Remote together. That's what they did, right? So they took the previous two consoles and merged them. Now we have this one merged console. Do we see another version of it, or do we expand out of it? You know, it's funny. I know Nintendo is always about this evolve and interactive, but if you look at Xbox's journey and PlayStation's journey, it's been pretty straightforward, right? It's just been upgrading technology.
Right.
Has Nintendo reached their innovation limit? Or rather, have they reached it to perfection in a way, right? Do we now just continuously see this upgraded? Right? Because really, think about it, the Wii, 3DS, and the Wii U. So 3 consoles. I'm going to consider the 3DS a console, right? Because it deserves it.
Well, it is.
It is. So 3 consoles is now, they took the best of all of it and put it into this super console, let's call it, the Switch. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we see anything further.
Well, do we want to, right?
Well, we always say no. This is great. GameCube. This is the greatest thing ever. We don't need anything better than this. So you always thought, like, what could Nintendo possibly do better than the Wii? The Wii is amazing. What could they possibly do better? So what do you think?
Well, the Wii was great, and then after a while, I knew a lot of ways to make that better. I think a lot of people I've heard talk about what they want to see out of the next Switch is more of the same. I've heard a lot of people question, is it going to be a portable? Is it going to be a hybrid type system like it is now, or is it going to be a TV only system? And I think everybody pretty much agrees that no, I want it to be a hybrid. Like it has to continue to be a portable in some way. Yeah. So I was thinking about okay, well, if it's gonna have to be a hybrid, it's gonna have to have the controllers on the sides. It's probably style it's gonna be. What do I want to see out of those Joy-Cons on the sides? How do I want to see them improve? And I think there's a few ways for them to improve besides the obvious get rid of the drift problem.
Correct.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Joy-Cons get a little thicker. I think the system overall is a little too thin.
That's not a crazy ass innovation change though. These are just small. This is quality of life improvement.
I know. Well, I mean, obviously, the answer to this question for me is we're not going to see a crazy ass innovation.
Can we all agree? Please, Nintendo, when you're listening to this, don't add cell phone interactivity. I don't want to play I don't want your phone to be a controller. I don't want to have to use my phone to voice chat like I do today. I hate when I go to Disney and I have to use my phone for everything. I want to not use my phone when I go on vacation. I want to not use my phone when I play video games.
Right.
We use our phones so much. There's so many times I don't want to use my phone, And this is one of those situations. So maybe the opposite of what Dan's question is, what do I not want them to do? I don't want them to get my cell phone involved.
Do you remember a couple of years, you probably don't, but Just Dance introduced the cell phone, the mobile phone? And when you brought up the game, it said, do you want to use your phone or your Joy-Cons for the motion controller? Ooh. And I was horrified by this because literally they were saying you can hold your phone in your hand and it would read the accelerometer and let you play with your phone. And I hated this. And the default was to use your phone.
Yeah,
I was like, no way am I holding my $1,000 phone or $600 or whatever it is. And I understand, like, hey, this is a way for us to play on a PS5 because there's really no kind of way to do that. But still, like, geez, I don't want to do that. Every toy that you buy your kids now has some app you download and will interact with the phone. I hate it because I don't want my kids using my phone.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just want, this, we're not old fashioned when we say this. It's just, the phone has its use for things, but there's so many times where I don't want the phone involved.
Yeah.
So that's just the opposite of the question. I hope they don't do.
And now what I want to see, if you want to talk about like crazy ass innovation, maybe is the lack of innovation. We've seen all of the major systems go with the same kind of controller. If you think about an Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo controller right now, they're exactly the same. They each have 2 triggers on the top. They each have 4 buttons in diamond. They're named differently. They have analog sticks. The only like big difference between them is they have different levels of vibration, right? Xbox is like the worst in terms of vibration. Right now, PS5 is the best. And analog triggers, which is not something I really care for. But yeah, if you do a trigger, if you click the ZL, ZR buttons on a Switch, it's like on or off, on or off. Yeah. The other systems, they have a long travel.
Like the GameCube.
The GameCube kind of had varying. Yeah, you can kind of hold them a little bit. I don't think it was like 100 to 360 degrees of it. It was like a little bit and a lot. Yep. But they do have like the PS5 controllers. I haven't used them, but they can actually give you resistance. They can lock you out. So there's a lot more interesting things you can do. But for the most part, only a few games will take any kind of advantage of it. That's just really all it is. So I'd like to see some of that, but yeah, nothing. It doesn't need to be crazy. It's all coming towards the same thing. Make the Joy-Cons incrementally better. Get rid of the damn camera. We're spending so much money on that stupid camera, and like only like 2 games ever used it. So enough with that. If you're going to do HD Rumble, encourage people to use HD Rumble. We really don't see anybody take good advantage of that.
I agree with that.
And then you have to buy it. Look at the PS4 controller, too. They have that big touch button in the center of their controller. Yeah. Nobody uses it. It's not necessary, and you have to pay for it. And now it's on the PS5 because they want to have backwards compatibility. So this stupid button is on the PS5 just because of that. So we don't need it. We just want we want a great Switch.
Agreed.
Don't give us any innovation.
Number 4.
Drew, we had a feature that we did a few times, and it's time to drag it back.
Ooh, I like that.
How would you improve it?
Ooh.
I'm going to throw out a game, and I want you to tell me how you would make it better.
Okay.
The game I'm going to throw out to you is very timely because we're currently playing a league of it, ice hockey for the NES. Now, this is a game we both love, but Drew, how would you make this classic even better?
Now, are we assuming this is like if we were to remake this Ice Hockey 2 or no? Like for today's world or no? Just if I was a developer 30 years ago, what would I have done differently?
Right.
All right. So we're not introducing like a a joystick, for example. It's just simply what would we have done better?
Right.
Yeah. Right. I would have had an option to maybe do either auto goalkeeping of some sort, right? Because how many times do you accidentally let the other 2 guys score because you're trying to play defense, and then at the last minute he shoots it? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah. You can take advantage of that easily on a human being.
And that's why when I play you, I always tell you, like, I usually don't play defense, and I usually just try to play goalie.
Right.
Which is a weird strategy. It's like if you don't have the puck, then all right, you're gonna give them a breakaway, but you're just gonna hope that you can stop it. And if you do it as a good player, it's hard to do that.
Right.
So that's one thing. What else? I mean, they got some good features. There's no penalties. There's the fight in.
There is penalties. So like
only
I
with
think
fight in.
Yeah, and in fact, I learned that like Super Blood Hockey does it the same way. If you lose the fight, you lose your player. Now,
Yes.
Super Blood Hockey did something really dumb, which is in a fight, you could actually get hurt and you could actually lose the player for the whole game, and they don't let you sub anybody in, which is really stupid because games can be totally ruined simply because you got a player hurt in a freak fight on a random number generator in the first period, and you're playing like a 3-player team the entire rest of the game. I definitely wouldn't do that, but I do love the fact that the fights are tied to the penalty because there's just not enough control in the game. You're not doing a cross check or anything like that. So there's no other penalty.
Ice hockey does a lot of things really well, right? It's always about the gameplay. They always get you right back to the gameplay very quickly. Whether if there's a whistle, if there's a fight, if there's a goal, it's always right back to the play. Look at Blades of Steel. Blades of Steel, when you get into a fight, it changes to like a side. It changes views, right?
Yeah.
You then punch and you can
Low
block.
punch, high punch, yeah.
Which is nice because if you have a little bit of skill now, rather than just jamming A the fastest. But I mean, what was your take? Like, which type of fighting do you like better?
I liked the incremental, slow fighting of Blades of Steel. It's like you can kind of weave in and weave it out, and I'm trying to remember. There was some strategy to high, low. I can't remember what it was.
There was an uppercut I think you could do.
I think if you did like an uppercut, you were resistant to something. I can't remember, but I remember there was a strategy. You didn't just go at them.
Correct.
And so you kind of come back a forward and you're like high punch or whatever. And then you come in low punch. I thought that was fun. And I think that overall is a better fighting system than ice hockey because it really is just like tap, 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 tap. If somebody's faster than you, they're going to win every single fight.
I know, which I don't like. Yeah. Which now leads me to face-offs, which is a very other similar scenario, right, with button pushing. Maybe it's just me. I suck at this part, but sometimes it's hard to move your players around when you're trying to do a face-off. Like, so for example, if you have, one skinny and 3 fats, and I want the skinny guy to hit the face-off, and he's on one of the wings, sometimes it's like, he just keeps going back and forth to the wing. Like, how do I get him to the center? You try pushing every day. It's not working easily.
Right. Yeah.
So I wish there was an easier way for that. The colors of the teams, I get they're trying to go after the countries here. I wonder if it would have been better not to go with the countries and just make this. But at that time, in the 80s, 90s, whenever the hell this game came out, it was probably a big Olympic thing, right? The big Miracle on Ice and all that. It probably helped promote the game a little bit more. But the colors they're not a big. There's a lot of them are like the same color. You have like the putish green. There's just not a lot of like good variety of colors that make you pop on the ice. I don't think too much.
Plus, like Canada, I expect Canada to be red, but I understand you wanted to make Russia red.
Correct.
I agree. Like, I mean, interest-wise, like for our market, it's like the U.S., Canada, because they're just the hockey country, and then Russia. And it's like, no, I don't really need Finland, Sweden,
Czech
whatever.
Republic. Yeah, I hear.
Yeah, the Czech, it's like so random.
The other thing is the settings after that, right? So once you pick your teams, you can do time periods and the speed. I don't know. I feel like those aren't the best settings. I wish there was maybe another 1 or 2 options of something. I don't know what, but if we really thought about it, we probably could come up with it.
I don't think there's a need for the speed. Like, just make the game a certain speed. It doesn't have to be Mario Kart. Like, people will adjust to the speed. We did the fast speed for our tournament, and I hadn't played the fast speed in like years.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't a big deal. It was like, okay, it's a little faster, I think. I would rather see if you're going to do a couple of settings, I don't know, do something different, like maybe harder shots or something. Because Shooting is so weird. And there are times when I feel like it's impossible to score.
Yep.
Like from any position, there's like a place where if you put your goalie, I feel like I'll never get it past you.
Agreed.
And I feel like my shot's not hard enough. They don't have like the concept of one-timers in ice hockey where like I can pass it and then be shooting with the guy as it comes to me.
That's a great point with the play style. It's almost no need to pass. You might as well just take one guy and try to go down the whole ice.
Yeah, never pass it.
Yeah, it's very, because if you pass it, you're just risking a chance of losing the puck.
Right. Yeah. Like it's more strategic to just try to like skate around and be clever. The control is really great. Super Blood Hockey, which is the game that tries to imitate this, very icy. It's like it's almost as if the people are on ice but with shoes on, not skates. Mm-hmm. So when you want to make a cut, you can't really make a cut. You kind of go whoa 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 whoa. And with ice hockey, it's like you can go one direction and just boom in another direction. You can really try to run past somebody. But yeah, I just wish. I don't know. I wish the shooting could be a little bit more strategic. You can't really do wraparounds in ice hockey because you're so slow. Mm-hmm. You're not going to fool anybody. You can't come skating in and just woo. But I'd like to see more variety. There's the skinny, medium, fat situation. My position. The medium guy is such a waste of time. I don't know why everybody does it. Like, I think everybody feels like if I have a variety of people, it's good. And it's not good. The medium people can't do anything. But I would love to see, like, give me a difference. Give me a difference. And it would be cool if different countries had different options.
I agree with that as well.
Maybe one country had skinny, medium, fat, and another country had only medium, fat, but then they had like some other dude, right?
Every team has one unique player or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I can choose 4 of those or something.
That's what I said. It goes back to the teams, and I get maybe why they did the countries, but it's not as it's now that it's, I mean, maybe because of the fact that we're playing this game 30 years later, but it's not as fun now when you're just picking a country. I would rather just pick a color that I liked or a team, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you said,
I agree.
I want the guy that has super speed. I want the team with that guy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or I want the team that has the one guy that can break the glass when he's, I agree. I think if you had one bonus guy on every team, it would be cool. Or maybe
Super
one team has great goalie.
Yeah, Super Dodgeball did that. Like they had guys with unique talents. Some teams had better health. Something that would change the countries. I think that's the big one. I think, right, between us, that's the big one.
Agreed.
Okay. Oh, cool. Good. I think we just made it better. Let's
good question.
Get a ROM hack.
Number 3.
All right, John. This one here for you. I fucking love fruit. I don't know about you, but there's nothing like a nice summer day and some fresh, cold fruit.
Mm-mm.
The problem with fruit is it's a pain in the ass to if you go, today, I went to the market this morning. I bought a whole watermelon. Why? Because they didn't have any halves available, and I'm a sucker, and I bought the whole fucking thing. And it took me forever to cut up that watermelon. I also bought a cantaloupe because I wanted to get a cantaloupe for my daughter. So I spent an hour on my feet cutting up watermelon, cantaloupes, pineapples. It's like cutting up some strawberries. I mean, that's big fruit salad that we're gonna have for the week. But it's a pain in the ass, no?
And you if you get a whole watermelon, you got to kind of force that down, because you don't want to waste it, and it's gonna last a couple days in the fridge.
Yeah.
And it always gets juicy, and you get water juice everywhere, and you take the saran wrap off.
Or the sour.
Yeah. So you asked what are your favorite fruits? I fucking love watermelon, man.
So let's rank them. I wanted you to count down your top 3 favorite fruits.
Okay. You want to start at 3?
Yeah, start at number 3.
All right, my number 3 favorite fruit is the banana. Besides being a beautiful after dark fruit, so phallic in so many ways. Watching your wife eat one is just she's in your pants. Yeah. Bananas are very versatile, right? We always have a bunch of bananas. I like to cut them up into slices. I love to put them in cereal. I like to put them on pancakes, waffles. They're a great flavor in shakes and smoothies. You get a little banana split. It goes great with ice cream. It just goes great with a lot of different foods. So, and then you can just eat it. Just eat the banana. But banana is definitely number 3. What do you think? What's your 3?
Number 3, I have like.
I can't believe we're counting down fruits right now.
Oh yeah, I can't believe I have like 2 that stick out. So number 3 is flexible, but for number 3, let's go watermelon, like we just talked about. There's nothing like a nice fresh. Now, when you cut up a watermelon, are you a guy that like cuts them into triangles so you eat them and then throw the I don't know, the crust away? Let's call it the crust. Or do you cut them into like cubes, like for a fruit salad?
I have been known to do cubes, but I think I aim for the triangles. I just like carry it around like, a handheld fruit.
Can we just agree that watermelon's probably one of the worst ones as far as cutting up?
I can agree. It's super messy,
watery.
And the thing about watermelons is, man, it like, how do you figure out which one to buy? Because you can die for watermelon, and then you cut it. You can tell as soon as you start cutting through it. If you get like this fresh slice, and it's like, oh yeah, and then you like touch it, and it's very like, it's firm. You're like, oh yeah, but then you touch it and it's like really soft, and you're like, this whole fucking watermelon's gonna suck.
Yeah, but you're too committed. You have to cut it.
Gotta eat it. Yeah.
All right, number 2.
My number 2 is gonna be the strawberry. Another versatile fruit. You can do a lot with this. My kids have been making lemonade lately. They just like my son has really been into like cooking. Like he just gets recipes. He just constantly wants to make new things. And they've gotten really good at making fucking lemonade. Like it's really good. And then of course, they've mastered the lemonade. So now they're working on strawberry lemonade. So we'll give them a few strawberries and then they like make strawberry lemonade. So strawberries, my wife, we've been doing this. We did the South Beach diet like 15 years ago or so, maybe even more actually. And we were doing the chocolate covered fruit part of it. And the idea was, here's a lower calorie dessert. You put a little chocolate dipped, whatever. And my wife started making chocolate covered strawberries. And this has now evolved over time. It's not the low calorie. We have way too many strawberries. I take whipped cream and I just pile it on and then dip it. But yeah, that's like one of my favorites. And then again, cutting up some strawberries, putting them on pancakes, waffles, smoothies, shakes. Oh, yeah. It's a versatile fruit. And candy in strawberry is always one of my favorite flavors as well. Of
course. Yeah, I love a good like homemade waffle with cut up strawberries and like whipped cream or Cool Whip. Oh yeah. Sometimes I like cutting up the strawberries and just dipping them in a little bit of sugar, like some nice grain sugar.
Powdered sugar.
Yeah, yeah. But strawberries is a good one. But my number 2, I'm going with pineapple.
Ooh.
Pineapple is delicious. The canned fake pineapples, you say fake, you know what I mean. They're probably one of the best canned fruits.
Yes.
They're just so different in taste and texture than a natural pineapple. And cutting up a pineapple, people that have never cut up a pineapple before, go buy one and try to cut it up without Googling anything.
It's hard as shit.
You need to know what you're doing. And then you feel like you're wasting it because you're cutting it into what, like an octagon or hexagon almost? That's the only way to do it.
You have to cut the sides off, the crust, as you would say.
Yeah.
But it's not straight. It's kind of curved, and you got to keep incrementally doing it. Yeah. And the thing about by the way, the pineapple, are you talking about the pineapple in the can that's like a perfect circle, perfectly cut? Or
I like the chunk. I'm a chunk guy.
You like the chunk. Okay. I don't understand how they make that. There's so much waste in it. I understand the hole is like the middle of the pineapple, but like, what do they do? Are they just do chunks from the outside and that goes into the chunks? Is that why there's a chunk can? So all the extra pineapple probably goes in?
Well, no, I think the chunks are the circles just cut up. I think it's just a different style.
Well, what do they do with the wasted pineapple from the perfectly center cut one? Do they just throw it away? Or
well, you can't eat the center, the circle center.
No, like but I mean outside the center. Like unless you're getting this perfectly shaped pineapple, right? There's
I don't know, obviously some manufactured. Maybe,
I would love to know. I need to look at a YouTube video. How do they make that? Because it's so perfectly cut, and it's always like so tender. I never get like one that's bad. I will say this though. When the pandemic started, I started buying canned fruit because I felt like at that time it was like you don't even want to touch produce.
Yeah.
But I started buying lots of like canned pears and stuff like that. But the pineapple, Del Monte's canned pineapple is terrible.
I like Dole.
Yeah, it's dry. It's terrible. And I'm talking about the rounded, cleaned up pineapple.
Yeah.
The Dole is a million times better.
And here's the tip. You save the pineapple juice and you pour it in with some vodka and you have a little Dad After Dark appetizer. Oh, yeah.
All right.
You never have that? Little pineapple?
I have not tried that. I definitely am one. I use a spoon. I eat all the pineapple. And then when it's done, I just drink it from the can. I love it.
Or if you're not going to. Yeah, but I'm saying if you want to, you should save it, put it in the fridge, put in a little container, and then save the juice with your vodka later on.
Okay. I might try that.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
You know what? I learned that there's a market out there for someone to go invent all these fruit cutting tools. Like, I want a tool I can just cut a watermelon in a second. Or a pineapple, like just and it's done.
There's such varying size, though. It's tricky.
Well, maybe you need multiple tools.
Yeah.
Just saying, there's a market. All right, number 1, John.
Number 1. I was almost going to go with my canned pears. I get the Del Monte canned pears.
Okay.
I get the water version. They are delicious. They gave me fruit, and then I drink it. It's delicious, but kind of boring. My number 1 fruit is a watermelon. I did recently see a graphic about how to choose watermelons. Now, it told you all these different kinds of ways to choose them based on the appearance. This was one of those graphics where one of the things said Epstein didn't kill himself. So it was like that sort of meme. And I was like, haha, that's funny. But no, really, you can choose watermelons by their appearance. And it was talking about like if it's oblong, I think that was like the worst. It was going to be the most dry. There's like if it's spherical and dark, it's going to be sweet. If it's shiny, like you don't want that. If it's smaller and shiny, because it's just not ripe. And there were some good ones. Like it even said like the watermelons that have like, what do they call it? It was like it's like a yellow part on there. It's like it almost looks like a flaw. It
probably was growing on that side.
Yeah, and they say like those are really good.
I'll tell you what, I got one today that had a little yellow spot, and it's fucking delicious.
Exactly. So, and then if you look at the pattern of the light green and dark green on the watermelon, that actually does tell you something as well. So if it's a lot of stripes, it might be a little drier, but if the stripes are further apart, it's more juicy.
Well, next time I go, I'm going to be that guy at the market, just touching all the watermelon. Now, do you ever buy like the quarter pre-sliced ones? I mean, you still have to cut them up, but
I have. The nice thing about those is you can kind of touch them and see how firm they are.
Correct, and you can see
kind of have a nice idea.
You do, and I agree.
Yeah,
you get to see, but
I'll buy the half one because that's enough for the family. It's probably better. But
now. The problem with fruit is I would never fucking buy that pre-cut fruit salad bowls. They're so much money. Yeah. They charge you probably 4 times of what it would have cost.
And it's been made and processed days ago. The fruits aren't as fresh.
Can't do it.
Just buy a watermelon, buy some apples, make it.
So my number 1 fruit. A nice, large, seedless California orange. Oh. Ooh. So good. A juicy orange just is the best.
Interesting.
I probably have 3 a week.
Wow. Do you get like them in a bag, or you buy them and put them in the plastic bag in the supermarket?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yep, buy them in the plastic bag. I've gotten so good at peeling them, I can almost peel off the entire orange peel, and then it comes out in one piece.
Mm-hmm. That's when you know the orange is going to be good, right?
Oh, yeah, because it doesn't have all the
usually tell. Stuff. Yeah, if you dig your fingers into the skin and it's like harder to get it off, you know it's going to be very dry. But if you like pull it in and it comes off and it makes a sound and there's like almost like a gap between the skin and the meat of it,
good.
It's like going to be so good. I'll tell you that I would put an orange at like 20th on my list.
What?
And one of the reasons is just like with a pear, just like with a peach, it is so hard to find a good one. Maybe it's harder here.
Maybe it's harder there.
When I get an orange now, I go for the cuties, like the little mini ones.
The little clementines.
Yeah.
Cutie.
I always find that they're just always there's a certain level of quality. Maybe not.
Well, here I'll say this: the clementines are guaranteed. The cuties are guaranteed to taste the same 90% of the time.
Yes.
I don't think if they're as good if you get like a good orange.
Right.
They're not nearly as good, but they're better than if you got a bad orange. I'll tell you that much.
And if you get a bad orange, it's just a waste of time.
They're safe. It's a safe bet, John. 90% of the time you get a good little one.
Right. How do you pick your oranges? Like, do you have a strategy for getting good ones? Have you ever gone to the store, seen them, and like, when no, I'm not going to get them because I don't think they're up to snuff?
I just know. It's just like you just know. I like the deep orange ones, and I like them nice and big. And I just know. I see it. I feel it. Give it a little squeeze, and you want to be able to hear the juice. You put up your ear a little bit. Oh, fucking fruit
power! If I could pick really good oranges every time, it would probably be higher on my list.
Well, you gotta learn. Just like the watermelon. Watch some YouTube videos.
Number 2.
Ball hair. Let's get into this now.
Yeah.
So tell me about, if you don't mind, Drew.
I don't mind.
Your experience with your ball hair trimmer with a light.
Well, it all goes back to my roots, no pun intended. But it's a hockey thing. 90% of hockey players shave their balls. So I feel like this is something as many hockey players, if you listen to this podcast, you know what I'm talking about.
They're all nodding right now. Because
it is though. And I think it goes back to because hockey players are comfortable taking showers with each other, which if you think it gross, right? A big room. It's just a hockey thing. You take showers in one big room that there's 12 shower heads and you just all get naked and you take showers together. So
I did not know this is where we were going, but okay.
But I feel like that's the root of why people shave their balls. It's hockey. So yes. So that has carried with me throughout my life of ball shaving, and I was just always a straight razor guy. The problem with the straight razor guy is it's just it's complicated and it get messy, and if you wait too long then it piles up and it's tough. So I went out there and I bought the Lawnmower 3.0, and it's fucking fantastic. It has a little light, it's wireless, and it says you cannot cut yourself, which I have never cut myself. That is a fact.
Have you ever tried to, like, if you try to like really get aggressive with it just to see, or you're not gonna try?
I'm not gonna risk that. No, I can't.
Okay. Yeah.
But I get aggressive down there. I want to, you're gonna maneuver around. Is it gross if I said that I have used it on my beard as well?
Oh no, it's your own pubic hair.
Yeah, it's all the same. I mean, you've
does it work well?
It's good if like it. Yeah, I mean, it's not like smooth skin like you just shaved with a razor.
Yeah, because you're smooth, so you're just like
I just
trimming
shaved today. But yeah, I mean, if I don't shave sometimes for a week and then I want to just clean it up a little bit or something.
Right.
Yeah, evens it out.
Trim. You can't shave a thick beard with a straight razor.
Exactly. If you haven't shaved for a month and you're like, I need to shave, you're not gonna go in there with a straight razor. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So you gotta trim it up first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this thing is fancy. It has it's very small, compact. It has a light. So anytime you push the power button, it lights. I mean, is it necessary? Probably not, but
yeah, I can actually see it as being useful. You're shaving down there, and you might not be. It's not like you don't shave off in an open area. You have to have a locked bathroom, whatever. Our bathroom is like open. We don't have a door. The toilet has a door, so But I can see it. I guess it's dark down there.
Yeah, it's nice because before this, it was always like you had a razor and that was it.
Yeah.
So now it's like if you want to do a quick shave, you don't need to like get the razor out and soap or whatever. You can just do like a quick buzz and you can clean it all up nice, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Because if you do the straight razor too, you might get chafage if you go too hard. It depends. So.
A straight razor is tough.
And it's time consuming.
If you do a clean shave down there,
Takes time.
They think like, oh, impress the lady, whatever. It's first of all, it's dangerous. If you do it though, you're like, that's nice. Couple days later though, it's not a pleasant.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you have to wait 3 or 4 days to really feel comfortable again.
Yeah.
And lots of powder. That's the key, folks. Lots of powder.
Like a baby.
Baby powder and Gold Bond. Don't be afraid to throw some Gold Bond on there. Burns a little bit, but it feels nice in the long run.
Right. Yeah. No, it is not a pleasant experience. So how does the ball razor differ from a regular electric razor?
I don't know. It could be a marketing scam for all I know.
Do you have an electric razor?
Well, I have like an electric razor. Yeah. This is more like think of like if when you go to the barber and they trim like your neck with like that type of, it's like more of that type of razor versus
okay.
Yeah, versus like a face razor is more like flatter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but does it have a guard on it, right? Because you want to keep most like razors, like my beard trimmer has like a guard on it, so I can go through and it cuts it at a certain distance. But if I just had like the one at the barber, it's like raw and they just go bzz, 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 bzz. That would be horrifying.
I need to send you a picture. Hey, they sell that at Best Buy. It's $70.
They've become popular, and
I don't know if I paid $70 for it, but
I listen to CU podcasts and I've heard them advertise it, and they just have this. It's funny, they don't even joke around in their promos. Like they just talk about your ball hair. It's all serious, and you can tell they've been told, "Don't joke about this. We want people to buy this." It's not a joke.
There it is. I just sent it to you. It has a nice little charger. You just toss it on. It has like a little guard. I think it's actually like a plastic part up top, so that's why they say it's not going to touch you. But I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like it has a guard built into it.
Works fantastic. It does have a little guard that you can move up and down for like 3 settings, but you don't really need that.
I wonder if that's like the kind of thing that I would get, like do a pickup, and there's always like a girl at the pickup, and just they always ask you, what are you picking up? And be like, yeah, a ball hair trimmer.
You my balls shaved?
And then just kind of give him a wink and go, is that your preference?
Why don't you tell the missus you want that for Father's Day? Tell your son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a dart. It has a picture with the dart on it.
I'll say to my son, do you need this? He's 14.
Oh,
are you there yet?
You there yet?
No, I might. I think about it.
It's nice.
I think about it. Yeah.
Like I said, it's nice because you don't have to get out the straight razor and do it. You can just do that like once a week if you wanted to.
It has been a long time since I've brought out the.
You might need that then.
The shaver. I actually, this is gonna sound barbaric, and by all means, everyone, just please contribute to like how you trim down there. I just grab a pair of scissors and cut.
What?
Drew's face is beautiful. I'm just gonna screenshot that right here.
John, that's not healthy. That's not safe.
What am I doing? Like split ends here? Like what's the problem?
You gotta have a little sideburns. No, I mean, that's a Billy Madison quote for you. No, I mean, you need the lawnmower 3.0. Maybe we should ask them to be our sponsor.
We'd be perfect for that. How do you do that? Do you ask? I mean, they're going to ask you how many people listen to your show and be like, well,
enough.
Yeah, we're 23rd on the list.
You know what? I think we should, because maybe they'll send us a sample and then you can get one. Or even if they don't, maybe they'll give us a coupon code, like 30% off or something.
Yeah. I'll put it on my Christmas list.
Even if nobody else buys it, we should get them sponsor so you can get one.
Right. Okay. Right. I think this is informative. How many people listening do you think use a ball hair shaver? I don't think it's that much.
I think it's 10%.
Yeah, I think it's fairly new. Yeah.
It is definitely newer.
I have like not professional level hair clippers, but like a real like buzzer for buzzing your hair.
I wouldn't use that on your balls.
No. I wouldn't use that on my balls. And then I have a beard trimmer.
Yeah.
I have the one blade, which is supposed to be like for everything, but I only use it to just trim my beard.
Mm-hmm.
But I originally tried to shave my hair with it, and it was just like too much of a thing. And then I have a straight razor, so I actually have 3 things for cutting hair. Yeah. So like part of my hesitation of a ball hair trimmer is like 4 things.
Well, maybe the ball hair trimmer can replace one of your other ones. This is a nice product.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go there, but especially since I already own it.
Now, it comes in, I think you could use it in the water or non-water. I like to do it before the shower starts.
You don't want to get hair all down the drain.
Well, I like to put a paper towel over the drain, and then I try to clean up a little bit, or,
Oh, but the water's not running.
No, I do it before the water starts running.
Yeah.
But then you can clean up with a straight razor if you need to while the water's running. You want to do that afterwards.
I've always just done it over the toilet. And then flushed it.
You're killing me here.
Is that bad for the drain?
It's like amateur hour. Using a scissor over the toilet. You got to get a ball trimmer in the shower and just get
with a paper towel on the drain.
Well, yeah, you can save some. Depends.
What about all the hair that goes? Like, what do you have to like? I mean, you're gonna have to wipe it up, right? I mean, the paper towel is not gonna catch everything.
Yeah, but there's always a little bit of water on the bottom of the shower. It's just so it's probably just.
And then somebody has to walk in, and your hair is just all over the place.
Well, no, because I would only do it before I showered.
And then it would wash down.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the remnants that would leave behind.
The roots.
All right. Ball hair.
And number one
topic. Let's talk about the Switch and the next generation of the Switch in comparison to the Wii. So there was a tweet today, popular Twitter guy, Stealth40K.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was responding to a tweet that said Nintendo raises Switch output to record 30 million thanks to stay-at-home demand, right? Okay, we're putting out more Switches. And he made a point that said this is why Switch's successor isn't coming anytime soon. The system is still selling as well as it ever has. This is an absolutely true statement, Drew. The Switch is selling top-notch, as is every console. Video games constantly. You can't find any hardware anymore because people have been mostly inside. And hopefully that's going to be ending soon. But I wrote back to him and I said, I disagree. And the point I brought up was the Wii was selling like hotcakes until it wasn't. And Nintendo made a huge mistake of waiting far too long. Existing Wii users not only dropped off and switched to the PS3 and the Xbox 360, but left Nintendo entirely. The Wii U was not enough to draw them back in. You cannot make that error again. And I'm just going to show you this graph that I've included in our notes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see this is a graph of Wii sales. The Wii came out 2007. It sold 5 million. I think it came out late in the year. Sold 5 million units. 2008, it sold almost 20 million units. And in its heyday, 2009, it sold over 25 million units in a year. But you see what happens. It sells 20 million the next year. It sells 15 million the year after that. It sells 10 million after that. You can see how fast that drop off is. And that is the mistake Nintendo cannot make with the Switch. The Switch is selling great. But what happened with Nintendo, they had huge, you can see the sales of the N64 and the GameCube. I mean, their systems sold worse and worse and worse as time went on. The problem that happened with the Wii, and the Wii did great, by the way. The Wii sold great. We're not complaining of the Wii. The problem is, by 2009, you are competing with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Xbox 360 has this great Xbox Arcade. I mean, those systems just had great games. The graphics look great. The graphics blew away anything that were on the Wii. They started doing some HD that Wii wouldn't. There was lots of problems there. And the sales started to slip, but Nintendo, they just we were sold so many Wiis. They did not get their next-gen hardware out on time. And the next gen, so the Wii U came out November of 2012. So you can see there, it comes out November 2012, and it wasn't enough. What happened was, and this happened to me too, I was playing the Wii, I loved it in 07, 08, 09, and then it was like, wow, the graphic difference is just awful.
Yeah, that's fair.
And and so what happened was I bought my PS3. And I was playing my PS3 most of the time. Most days I was playing my PS3. And I eventually started to lose interest in the Wii. And by the time the Wii U comes out and they announce it and they showcase it, it just wasn't enough. A lot of people had moved on from the Wii and Nintendo entirely.
That's a great point that maybe I didn't think about really ever is. And not necessarily was the Wii U a failure, but like you said, it was people stuck around with Nintendo for only so long, right? I mean, it's such a true statement, right? Where I'm a Nintendo fanboy, that's all I have. But it gets to a point where, and maybe my breaking point is a lot longer than other people. Maybe other people's breaking point is 2 years. Maybe it's 5 years. Maybe mine is 10 years. But there is a point where if the Switch just never did anything differently, there would be a point that it would probably start looking other places, right?
Right.
I don't know how far that would be for me personally, but eventually everybody has their breaking point.
Right.
And again, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, but it's there. Every person has that. If you're a gamer, you're going to see all these new games coming out that you want to play, and you're not going to be able to.
Right. Yeah. It is not always about the sales. The sales are great for Nintendo right now, but at some point, you have all these people's sales, but you have to stop looking at the past, look at the future, right? People are buying these things. And now what are they going to do? So, here's what could happen for you. Let's just say, hypothetically, you have your Switch. Obviously, the next-gen consoles are out right now, okay? There's some really nice-looking games on the PS5, some nice games on the Series X. But maybe right now you're like, I'm fine with my Switch. But maybe over time you start seeing some games come out. You're like, ooh, Diablo 4 is going to come out, Drew. And you might be like, ooh, I really want to play some Diablo 4. And you go and you're like, and eventually you look at your Switch and go, God, look at the games that are available right now. And you know what, John, I'm going to grab myself a Series X. I'm going to play some Diablo 4, and I'm going to get that Game Pass you were talking about. And the problem is, once you do that, you are now on the Xbox platform. Nintendo's got to win you back. So if their next-gen hardware comes out with the Switch, and it's incrementally better, but not mind-blowing the way the Wii U was with the Wii, where it wasn't mind-blowing, you might go, you know what? The Series X is still more powerful than the Switch 2. I'm good for now. I'll just stay here.
Yeah, I can live without Zelda for now.
So you can't wait for the sales to just die out and then expect people to come back when they've committed to somebody else.
I would be very interested to see this same chart for the DS, right? Or because in all the versions of the DS, right? Because I think that's where we're going with the Nintendo Switch, right? Where just like, it started out with a DS and then whatever, DS Lite, right? And then we had the XL, and then we had, the 2D, and then we had that whole line. So, you probably saw a wave for that. Every time a new version came out, it spiked, it would slow back down, it spiked, it would slow. So I wonder if that's where we're going to go now see the Switch. And we've been talking about the Switch Pro for years and all this, blah, blah, blah. And it's got to be soon. And I think it is soon, right?
But even got to be soon.
Is even next year too long? Or they have to announce it very soon? They have to.
Yeah. I don't think they need a Switch 2 at all. They don't need a Switch 2 for probably 3 years. But that is contingent on the fact that we get a Switch Pro this year or early next year. Because, like I said, people are going to see the new games are starting to come out on the PS5. We saw Returnal just came out on Friday. We've got the Series X had the Medium come out. We're starting to see some of these next-gen games, and the Switch is just not going to be able to keep up. We've seen the comparison of Phoenix Rising on a Switch versus the other consoles, right? People are going to pick up on this. You do need a Pro, because you don't need a Switch 2. People love their Switch. But for the people that want more power and they want to play their games with a little better resolution and all that jazz, if you don't update the Switch and you just wait, they're gonna flip over, and now you got to win them back, and you want to keep your audience. So I think it's an insult to say, oh, the Switch is selling so well. Yeah, somebody bought a Switch, but you're going to start losing the people that bought their Switch in 2017 and 18. And even though you can look at those numbers and look back and say, oh, look how many Switches we sold in 2018. Yeah, but how many of those people have now sold their Switch and moved on to another console, and you lost them? So I don't want to see Nintendo make that same mistake. Yeah, you need to iterate your hardware. Look, a Switch Pro does not have to be a Series X, but it might not even be a PS4.
Correct. But you know what happens, John? I think the world and many businesses fail at this, and I'm not saying Nintendo's going to fail or succeed, but cell phone companies are the perfect examples where they favor new customers versus existing customers, right? How many
Yeah.
times back in the day would you go into the cell phone store and say, I want to upgrade my phone? Great, it's $200. Well, how come the new customer deal right there? You have a poster. It says $100. Well, that's for new customers.
Right.
Okay, so I've been giving you my money for 5 years, but I can't.
Yeah.
Nope, only for new. So it's kind of the same aspect, right, of Nintendo, where you don't want to lose those customers, because that cell phone guy's going to say, well, I'm going to go switch phone company because that company over there is going to give me the phone for $100, right?
Right.
You don't want that to happen to Nintendo, where they're going to say, I'm going to go switch.
Yep.
Because Xbox and PlayStation is giving me better graphics and better games and A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, now they've switched and they've locked in. They just invested $500 and they bought 4 games. They're not going to just jump right back all of a sudden when you introduce a new system. You're going to have to do something a little bit better than that.
Yes.
So that's what I'm nervous about. I don't think we're in those shoes yet, because I think we're in a lot better place right now for Nintendo than we were with the Wii U 5 years ago.
Mhm.
But you got to retain those people. And to retain those people, you have to offer them something that's of value, something that's good, and something that people want, which what people want right now is better graphics and a handheld system. That's what they want.
Yes. And you got to keep that.
And that's where Nintendo shines, right? That's and they know that. So they gotta keep with that. They need to keep with the handheld idea, the portable hybrid, and then they need to improve. And I'm not saying it needs to be 4K. Just you got to do something. You got to do something.
It's got to be more impressive. Whether it's less frame drops on the existing games, or maybe the resolutions can get bumped up on the existing games.
Now, and I'm going to ask, I agree. And I'm going to ask you this last question before we wrap up. This is kind of off topic, but do you blame either Nintendo for not getting some of these other big AAA games, or do you just blame those developers for not coming to Nintendo? Or is Nintendo not doing enough? I guess that's the better question. Is Nintendo doing enough to get those companies to say, I want you to make your game on my system too?
I think there's blame for both sides. I think I do not. I respect the developer, The Witcher 3, right? They came out with a port on the Switch a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
And nobody expected that port to come, but it came. I think if you make a game that looks amazing, and now you're thinking, can we port this to the Switch and get a few more sales? Maybe, but will it do our game justice? And maybe you don't want to see that game get ported to the Switch and look like shit. You know what I mean? Especially even if someone on the Switch who can't play it on another console is like, hey, I wasn't able to play it before, but now I can play it now. But people see it on the other consoles, and now suddenly it's like, wow. I mean, like, it makes our game look bad. We don't really want to do it. And so I understand that. Now, shitty companies like EA that don't port their games over when they should be, that's their fault. But from Nintendo's side, this is the same hardware from 2017, okay? It turned 4 years old. We have to get a better version of this hardware, because I'm telling you, the company that made Outriders is not considering porting their game to Switch because their game's going to look like total shit. But if you make a Switch Pro and you come to them a little bit closer and say, hey, our hardware is a little bit better, now your game may not look so bad. Why don't you come and bring it over, and you can attract more of it? But if Nintendo rests on their laurels for another 2 years with 2017 hardware, they're going to lose all the AAA support. People are going to start moving over to new consoles, and that's it. So just don't make that mistake again.
I agree. The last part I'm going to say here is, though, I don't want these other big title games just to make 4-year-old remakes, right? I want the new games with launch with all the other systems, right? Mm-hmm. We don't need Eternals in a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever the hell this game is you're talking about. We don't need that game coming out in 2 years on the Switch. No, the game's dead. Yeah. We want the second one coming out whenever it always is. So
I definitely do want the day and date. I agree with you, the day and date. I understand when that doesn't happen.
Yep.
But yeah, just don't rest on your laurels, man. This is the time now to just improve your hardware before people start seeing that huge difference. It's just time to move. So I think it's a great topic, and I really hope a Switch Pro comes out this year. Let's see it.
All right, Joe, what do we got coming up the next few weeks?
Well, we lost Drew there. His battery died on his laptop, so I'll just wrap this up. What do we have happening here in the next couple weeks? May Day in Animal Crossing, that goes till May 7th. So if you haven't done your May Day, you only get one chance at it. Make sure you get that done in the next few days over here. The game that I'm most hyped for right now is Famicom Detective Club. This comes out May 14th. There's 2 games. The Girl Who Stands Behind and The Missing Heir. The Missing Heir is the first game. The Girl Who Stands Behind is the second game. And these reports from the Famicom. Now, so these are totally remade. You're not playing some old game. This isn't like Fire Emblem or anything like that. Totally remade. But they look super interesting. I'm a big fan of Ace Attorney, like we talked about before. This is like, for the next couple weeks or so, I'm still going to be playing Monster Hunter, still going to be playing Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I'm quite enjoying not getting a new game. But yeah, this one I'm definitely in on The Missing Heir, and then we'll see how it goes. If I enjoy Missing Heir, go with the next one. And then Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero also come out May 14th. This is weird. I thought Subnautica was already on Nintendo, but here it comes. So if you like that game, there you go. This was free on Game Pass, by the way. So if you want to try it and you have Game Pass, give it a try. Anyways, that's what we got. It's going to be a big set of releases end of May, into June, into July. So if you've been waiting for games for a while, this is it right here. But a nice little start. And that's going to wrap it up. Drew's battery is dead, but he says, tell everyone goodbye. So I will. Goodbye. And that wraps it up. Take us away, Sadie.
The Dads After Dark show is a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Be sure to join us on the Nintendo Dads Discord in the Dads After Dark show channel for some naughty After Dark talk. Follow us on Twitter @NDadsAfterDark. Ask us a question, and we may answer it on the show. That's all for tonight. Good night, Dads. Sweet dreams.